Holy shit, people actually watch my videos? Fascinating. That inspires me to talk about a more broader issue I have concerning popular videos on this website that people hate so much that I sometimes contemplate leaving, but I can't because I like to watch videos and have them as background noise. Anyway, critics are like the big thing with people who are angry at the world for not doing what they want, and that is exactly what happened. They complain about stuff, and nothing against that idea. I do it all the time on my daily life, about whatever the heck, with my friends and stuff. I think the problem becomes apparent when going against what is given to you has become some sort of heroic deed or something. Like you're seen as some sort of prodigy because you had the balls to say that, Justin Bieber is a hack, or some random opinion out there where you go against the popular crowd, but, that loses value when everyone starts doing it. Apparently this idea that perception is different for everyone is a hard concept to grasp, and I should know because I've had a real hard time trying to accept it myself. I've been practically raised by these internet critic weirdos who criticize media and the world around them. I thought they were in the right because they sounded smart, and that the world should bow down to their every whim because they are the true rebels and the true heroes that blah 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 blah. Okay, I hope I don't sound scatterbrained by this point, but, the point I want to try to make here is that I don't like internet critics because they seem to have unintentionally developed this us against the world mentality where instead of discussing art and society and, deeper meanings and what means what and whatever, they want to try to fix art and society to make it objectively good. I can get speaking concerns about how our government and society are screwing up and how media kind of is manipulating the system just so they could not put any effort into their work. I could see wanting to see good art, period. But can we, not act so abrasive and vitriolic and especially divisive regarding these issues, minor or otherwise? I'll explain soon enough, so let's dive right in. Not too deep, because it's really scary down there. But still, let's dive right in and get constructive. Oh yeah. When I first hopped on the information highway, I watched YouTube poops and AMVs of my favorite cartoons and anime. That somehow landed me in a community of YouTube ranters, a small community of people that somehow had people leave and create communities of their own. Name a popular Flash animator or online entertainer you know, chances are he or she might be familiar with the name Big Al 2K6. Who the hell was Big Al 2K6? He was just some ranter that I guess a lot of people took notice of, and I guess it was one of the first to rant about stuff like, fanboys and emos and 4Kids Entertainment, and how it's a really big problem that people love Final Fantasy VII and Naruto and Super Smash Bros. Brawl too much, and how fanboys need to wake up, and who cares about this shit? I know I did, because I felt like I had to. Anyway, I used to watch a lot of these rants by these guys that were very abrasive and vitriolic over hot blazing topics like fucking Super Smash Bros. Brawl being overrated, Naruto being overrated, goths, gangsters, whoever the hell they are. Oh, and 4Kids Entertainment. Oh my god. 4Kids Entertainment were so hated. I can understand why, but I wouldn't call them racist. I mean, if they were racist, then they wouldn't even be dubbing anime to begin with. And aren't they dead now? So who cares? These guys also did reviews on movies that I never even knew existed or even considered the worst films ever made. Who the fuck was Uwe Boll? His name sounds like, ew, a bowl. And what's wrong with bowls? All the bad games, all the bad shows and movies. Hollywood sucked. And they all shared the same views so much that I thought that's how it's supposed to be. And that I could be smart and popular like these guys. I could be like a British cat in a fedora. I could be like a bearded glasses dude who sounded like Gilbert Godfrey. I could be a part of this movement to a utopia. I actually thought that's what these ranters and reviewers were doing. They were starting a revolution against the evil, greedy Hollywood and the evil government or some shit. And the evil... I'm gonna stop. I thought art was objective because smart people express their opinions and their valid more because they're smart, and we should segregate dumb people for liking what they don't, and just all this existential bullshit. And over what? People who, without irony, use the word butthurt? These people would just dismiss any sort of criticism against them and say that's just the internet, and it's to be expected. Like, you have to expect the internet to dox you and send pieces to your house. Like, yeah, being an asshole and all-around piece of shit on the internet is normal. Okay, sure. Yeah, bullying is normal, and that's what I actually almost thought because it builds character. What was wrong with me? Well, I'll tell you. Puberty. Children are fucking weird, okay? They try so hard to have the ultimate views and be in the ultimate right of everything. They try to have the ultimate sense of humor. They try to have life figured out just like that. They don't want to accept the fact that they're never going to achieve nirvana or something. We as people never stop learning no matter what. You know, they don't want to believe that. I think puberty is what makes these critics so popular. They have this "fuck yeah, we are the shit" attitude against the world for rejecting their more analytical look at things. Actually, it's barely analytical because they just ask why do we go to school instead of trying to learn why school exists in the first place. They just want that annoying teacher who hates them to lose their job or something. These guys were actual edgelords, and for those who don't know, that's an internet slang for someone trying too hard to be cool and unique by saying taboo stuff all the time, which loses its tabooness. But back then, it was called the internet tough guy, which ironically is what internet ranters used to call people who would start drama in their community. Oh, speaking of drama, that is what happened a lot back then too. And just like today, it usually started over something so minute or a really dumb misunderstanding. But back then, it was a lot worse. Critical thinking is good, but I think the true path to enlightenment is thinking, why are we even thinking like this? Like, people wonder why do we exist, but why do we even wonder why we exist? You're not special just because you question stuff. Even questioning why you question stuff doesn't make you special. Having an opinion doesn't make you special. And that's okay. Talking about stuff can be enticing. Don't try to add some deeper meaning and motivation behind it. Just satisfy your current hunger for knowledge and you'll be fine. So now, here we are. What changed? Well, it feels surreal to see some of these people I've known in this niche community grow older and gain even more of a following. However, when it comes to criticism and reviews and rants, I think they've gotten even more angry, and especially longer. I mean, the titles of these videos are just so in your face. Like, instead of Star Wars The Last Jedi review, it's "Why The Last Jedi Was a Failure, Wreck-It Ralph 2 Was Painfully Mediocre, Why Kingdom Hearts 3 Sucks." Just holy shit! These titles are so, attention-grabbing, which, yeah, I know that's the point, but that's the thing. It feels dishonest to try to get someone's attention by being as bitter and angry about shitty art. Like, what if someone thought that fucking, Wreck-It Ralph 2 was a good movie, or Why Kingdom Hearts didn't suck? Are they wrong for liking something that they don't like? Oh wait, it's just your opinion that the thing sucks. Oh god, opinions. Everyone has them, and people have been saying that it goes without saying. But I think the problem with it always going without saying is that I think a lot of impressionable people are going to not get the idea that it goes without saying, and then they'll start thinking that it's a fact that Family Guy sucks, and anyone who likes Family Guy is an idiot. It's not even the ranters' fault. They just wanted to make a video talking about their opinions on things, but their fans took it a step further because they hate that this world is filled with shit, so it's their job to get rid of all this shit in this world. I mean, that's what happened with the Nostalgia Critic and AVGN, two really popular internet critics that fans took seriously because they didn't get the idea that these critic characters were characters. They just thought that's how they acted, and that's also how the idea that you gotta be an asshole on the internet came about. Like, they just thought that being an asshole was how you're supposed to act on the internet. Like, you're so super rational because you're an asshole. Just, what the fuck? And I was caught in the hate train too because I felt bad for not hating something enough. I felt partially responsible for America being a bad country and Disney not making good movies. These guys acted so angry that not joining their side would be like not giving money to a homeless person. These critics were the underdog, and that was further pushed by this idea that critics were part of this anti-establishment movement that's been going on since the hippie days or something. Then that idea falls down when I realize that so many people have so many different wants and ideas, even if their opinions are the same, they have different reasons for them. Just holy shit. All this criticism is based on how much media is following a narrative, like how realistic movie is trying to be cool and hip, and how dirty comedies are trying to be cool and hip to make money, and how a remake is trying to make money. That's not criticism. That's just observations. And something made to make money can be good. I don't care what Hollywood is doing or what trends are happening. All I care about is what the person's personal experience with the media is. And one critic I can think of that does that well is Some Call Me Johnny, a very humble video game critic who speaks from the heart and lets his viewers decide their fate with a video game. I can disagree with him and not feel bad. That's all I'm asking for with these critics. I want information and a personal experience with these opinions. I don't want preachy monologues about how art needs to be fantastical or something. Just what makes these opinions of these critics so special compared to some other guy? Is it because they're famous? Or is it the kind of video that they made has a really good way of articulating their opinions? They're still regular guys like you and I, just more well known. I know you're gonna say that I'm taking this too seriously. Well, listen. This was before I realized that a lot of the exaggerations and hyperbolic statements were just exaggerations and hyperbolic statements. I thought that's how you were supposed to be, and I was like really impressionable and young, so yeah, that's why I ended up taking all this shit seriously. Like, all this stuff that I believed back then, I don't believe now. It took me a while to realize this because a lot of friends were sick of me saying really dumb shit about internet critics and nerds and reviewers and shit. It was in Ranters, it was a really kick in the nuts learning experience for me. And before we get to the conclusion, I feel like I should talk about the haters for these internet critics, because yes, they exist. I want to show that I'm not like a biased person here. And honestly, some of these haters of these internet critics are even as bad as their annoying fanboys. They're the kind of people that would constantly shit on internet critics for hating on a common hateable thing and not even bring up like actual arguments against them. They just compare them to Watch Mojo and they call them nostalgia tards, which is a word derived from retard, which is also a word that can get you in trouble these days because of how offensive it's become. But why are people getting so angry and defensive? Because they're butthurt? I used to be like that hater too, but then I realized that criticism and critical thinking is important and good for you. But apparently self-reflecting is too emotional for these guys, and they have a really hard time accepting that just because someone criticizes something, that does not mean they dislike it. I can be critical about the shit I love, doesn't mean I hate the things that I love. It was really hard for me to accept that as well, because, like, I don't want to live in a house that's filled with mold or something. You get what I mean? But really, it's more like a cake with uneven icing. It's still cake. I mean, do you know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean. It's like these haters of criticism seem to believe that it's possible to make something unmockable and that we just shouldn't point things out like Steven Universe's inconsistent sizes because, oh, that's just the idea, or KO's constant references because, oh, that's just an idea. That's just coming up with excuses to silence people who have something to say about something that they don't like. I mean, can't we all just come up with a silver lining in looking at criticism of a cartoon or whatever? Art isn't objective. Just because someone criticizes art, that doesn't mean it is. No matter how popular the user is, the closest to objective I could say are the fundamentals taught in school about composition, line, and fucking scene setup and narrative structure. I mean, they talk about how the language of storytelling in film is much language than the language of storytelling in real life. Look, all I'm saying is let people be critical, but also the people who are being critical should really speak from the heart and not get upset at shitty media for ruining creative freedom. Just speak from your heart on how you feel and don't act all high and mighty about some thing you don't like doing something that you think is wrong. I get it's hyperbole, but I think it's evolving into genuine thoughts without anyone even knowing. Nobody is ever going to solve the world's problems. No one is ever going to make a movie or show or game that appeals to literally everyone. And world peace will never happen. Our world is so literally goddamn diverse that trying to find a solution to fucking everything is impossible. All I ask is for you fans of Mr. Nostalgia Cinema, Cosmont, Cosmore, Saber Taxi, Empress, Scrofilla, Caddy, Smarmy, Gamer Critic Productions, 2K6 the Third, is if you want to learn how to tell stories, if you want to learn how to critically analyze a story, get in depth and be educated about our world and society and how humans work. Read a book, go look up documents by professionals and people who specialize in the shit you want to get into. Study the language of storytelling and film and gaming and whatever, because, like I said, the language of storytelling and fiction is different from the language in real life. Don't just listen to how other people perceive information. Look up that information for yourself so that you can perceive it in your own way, and maybe you might become the next big critic that your friends will link everyone to show them that they're wrong for liking the newest movie or something. Hell, you might as well look up reviews, but please, take them with a grain of salt. They're just opinions after all, not so much bold statements of how art should be, and they really shouldn't be. I mean, they can if they want to be, but I don't want that to really change the playing field. Did you know that grain of salt came from this idea that things are better eaten with only a grain of salt and not too much? It's fun looking up history of common phrases. You should try it out. As for me, I'd rather see stuff for myself to form a full opinion on them. As fun as it is to feel like you're a part of something, you'll sink into that something to the point that you won't even stand out. And I should know, I tried to be cool with my friends once and didn't work out well. We're cool now. I hope you guys will be cool too. And I hope you understand a lot of my weird metaphors here. Take care, and stay a grain of salty, everybody.